Transform and roll out!
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Breadcast Transformers Talk. This episode is going to go over a lot of things in the world of Transformers toys, but the main thing I'm going to be talking about is what this video is titled after, but I'm going to also be giving my thoughts on third-party Transformers and KO Transformers as well, and even my thoughts on the Haslab Unicron figure. So now, let's get right into it. So first, let's talk about the situation at hand. Most of you know that Hasbro's Haslab division has a Unicron figure that they are trying to get funded, and the funding has been extended until some point in October, and they just opened it to Europe, even though there's only like one place that is taking pre-orders for Europe. But then out of nowhere, the third-party company Zeta Toys started releasing pictures of a Unicron figure that they were working on. But the breaking point is when they put out videos of their Unicron. Hasbro put a cease and desist on Zeta Toys, and Zeta complied with it. Not only that, but all Zeta Toys and Zeta... Not only that, but all videos and pictures of the Zeta Toys Unicron got removed from YouTube and pretty much all of their social media as well. So the question becomes, is Hasbro in the right? My opinion is that Hasbro is in the right. I think that Zeta Toys did two things wrong here. One is that in the videos they had for their Unicron, they kept calling it Unicron. You don't do that, guys. You named it Core Star for a reason, so call it that. The second thing is that you don't come up with your own Unicron right at the time when there's an official one that is in the crowdfunding process. That is the biggest thing you do not do. And therefore, I am staying with the opinion that Hasbro did the right thing here, and that Zeta really messed up. They did what they should have done, or what they should have done is taken from what Fans Toys did. Two examples where they were going to release their Soundwave called Acoustic Wave and their Hot Rod called Hoodlum that were going to release when Takara was in the process of making their Masterpiece MP13 Soundwave and Masterpiece MP28 Hot Rodimus. So Fans Toys didn't release Acoustic Wave and then waited 3 years to release Hoodlum, and that's what Zeta Toys should have done. Is design their Unicron, and then assuming that the Haslab one got funded, then Zeta could have released it sometime later, and would have been fine. Ultimately, Zeta Toys, you messed up, and you paid the price for it. Now, Zeta isn't shut down or anything, and for now they have to shelve their Unicron, but for all we know, they could wait and release it later. I'm sure that it would have been much cheaper than the Haslab one, but from what I understand, the Zeta Toys one was not nearly the size of the official one from Hasbro. It was about the size of some of Zeta Toys' combiners are. The other problem is that once Zeta announced theirs, there was a drop in funding on the Haslab one, as there were some people that think that third-party companies do it better all the time, and that's only true in some cases. Regardless, this was another reason for Hasbro to go after Zeta. The thing that I find funny is that people say that Hasbro did this because they can't compete, and that's not true, because these are two different markets, these companies. See, Hasbro has to make their Transformers and market them for children, not collectors. But there are some exceptions, and yes, Hasbro is aware of the adult collector market, and some figures, to me, like Siege Jetfire and any of the Titan classes, to me those are aimed at adult collectors because I don't see a lot of parents dropping $80 to $200 for a single toy for their kids that they're just gonna break. Third-party Transformers, however, are meant for the adult collectors and want MP, Masterpiece, scale combiners, and so Hasbro shouldn't have to compete with the third parties because they're two different kinds of markets. So now I'm going to talk solely about the Haslab Unicron. First of all, I didn't think it would get funded before they extended the deadline, and I still don't think it is going to get funded after they've extended the deadline. And honestly, I hope it doesn't. Look, as much of a Transformers fan I am, I should be saying, yeah, I want a Unicron that scales with the other Siege figures. I should be saying that. I like seeing how excited the Haslab folks are about Unicron. How much time and effort that was put into just the grayscale prototype. Hasbro put their heart and soul into Unicron, and they want to share that with the world. But I don't want this to happen because I want Hasbro to learn the lesson that they should have given much more notice to people for the funding of this. This is a $600 figure. I understand that there are people that can afford this, and those that can, go for it. Really. I cannot drop that kind of money, but I'm not here to complain that I can't afford it, because even if I could, the second thing for me, I don't have the space for something like that. Heck, I barely have space for Siege Jetfire, but I still got it. Yeah, this is now the most expensive Transformer figure that I have, is Siege Jetfire. Honestly, I can't afford to get Titan class bots that Hasbro puts out, which sucks because I wish I could get Siege Omega Supreme, but again, I'm not here to complain about it. Either way, I don't think that Unicron will get funded, and I honestly don't want it to either. But if it does happen to get funded, then great. I'll look forward to seeing reviews of it on YouTube, since that is as close that I will ever get to Unicron. I do think that perhaps if Unicron gets funded through Haslab, then maybe from here Hasbro can get in on the board with some official Masterpiece combiners. That'd be pretty cool to see. And now I move on. So given what happened to Zeta Toys, I'm going to talk about third-party and KO Transformers and what I think about them. I for one am alright with third-party Transformers, as long as they conduct their business with regards to what Hasbro and Takara are doing. I like that third-party scene is there because, for one, Hasbro and Takara, they take forever to make Masterpiece figures of their G1 characters. Like, they went and branched off into Masterpiece Beast Wars figures, the movie figures, and I know there's an audience for it, but like, there are so many G1 characters that deserve the official Masterpiece treatment, like Jazz. I mean, we're only now getting around to a Masterpiece Hound, because not only did they do Masterpiece Beast Wars characters, but then they went and are redoing already existing Masterpiece figures like MP44 Optimus Prime and MP45 Bumblebee, all for the sake of the bots being more cartoon accurate, when it really doesn't need to be done. But this is what Hasbro and Takara wants to waste their resources doing, rather than newly molded Masterpiece figures, like Jazz. Now, the quality of third-party figures is a mixed bag, but there are really good companies like Fans Toys, Make Toys, Ocular Max, X-Transbots, and DX9 that do really good work and really good-looking Masterpiece scale figures. But beyond that, third-party companies make figures of characters from like the IDW comics, which is something that Mastermind Creations does, or good quality figures from the Cybertron video games, War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron, which Planet X does. Yeah, there's a few official figures from the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron games, but did Hasbro make Omega Supreme and Trypticon from War for Cybertron? No. Did Planet X? Yep. Now, obviously, the big thing and popular thing from third-party companies are the Masterpiece scale combiners, and I can agree, because it's what the people want. And Hasbro doesn't seem to want to give the people what they want in an official way. Aside from third-party Transformers now, I want to talk a little bit about knockoff or KO Transformers. I'm perfectly fine with KO Transformers. I'm sure that's super shocking, and now I realize that Hasbro would never sponsor this channel, but that's okay. But I will say, I like knockoff Transformers, especially KOs of Masterpiece ones, because they're so much cheaper than official Masterpiece figures. I know that the quality is less than official Masterpiece figures, but I've owned a KO Masterpiece Wheeljack for 2-3 years now, and I love it. It looks great, and unless you really look at it, then you wouldn't know the difference. Like, I am not sorry to say that despite the possible quality of KO Transformers, I would rather pay $35 for a knockoff version of Masterpiece 28 Hot Rod versus $75 for it. I'm really not sorry to say that as much as I want to give Hasbro money for Siege and Studio Series line, well, I do that. So I'm okay with buying knockoff of the Masterpiece figures because I give them money for Siege and Studio Series. And I do actually have an official Masterpiece figure, being the G2 Bumblebee, which I got it because it was on sale for like $35 on Big Bad Toy Store. So yeah, I am perfectly okay with knockoff Transformers since they cost less than official ones. And the only KOs I would buy are of the Masterpiece line. And so, it's been a while since I've done a discussion video like this in my Transformers talk, and yeah, I once heard about this and watched some other videos and heard people's opinions on this topic that I've now discussed. And I knew that I had to put my thoughts out there. And yeah, I knew this was going to be long, but I felt the need to give my thoughts on the whole situation and everything else that goes with it. That's all I have to say, so if you may add to the conversation, leave a comment below. As always, thanks for listening, and goodbye.